Here we go, it's another West London VR race, 6.2. Only the second in this latest series, but so much to play for already. And we're 21.1 kilometres according to the screen there. I don't think it is, I think it's a little bit shorter than that, I think you'll find. What we've got is 4 laps and 2 hills on each lap, so there's 8 hills altogether. They're not particularly steep, they're not particularly long, but they just facilitate the attacks and they make it all exciting. So let's look forward to the action. 3 minutes 24 to go at the moment, and no doubt everybody's nervously on the start line awaiting the start. But let's have a quick look at the standings. This is only after one race. Secure the bag, Matt Hammond, Neb Bowen, Marion Marisak and Miles Askew taking up the top 5 places for the men. Caroline Reuter, Judith Newton, Jessica Hamilton, who's not riding tonight, she's ill. Laura Whittingham and Holly Larson at the top 5 for the ladies. Ratio, No Pins, Draft, Moving Riders and Pokemotion taking the top team spots for the men. And React Women, dominant last time, just leading West London VR in the ladies teams. And of course the 6 of the best and Dirty Dozen categories only come in later in the series after 6 and 12 races respectively. 2 minutes 37 to the start. And it was an absolute thriller last time, with a big bunch sprint at the end. Secure the bag, getting it. I don't think the bunch sprint will be quite as big on this one because the hills, and I think the main protagonist will try and break down that final peloton's numbers with small attacks on all of the hills. Now, previous editions of this course have shown that they don't particularly do it on the first lap. There are 4 laps to go round, and they don't necessarily do these attacks on the first lap, but they start doing them from lap 2 onwards. I'm not suggesting that that's how it will be played out tonight, but that's the past scenario that we've experienced on this course, and the feedback has always been phenomenal on this course about what a great race it turns out to be, such that we've included it again in Series 6, now in our 3rd year, and getting great turnouts, we're delighted to say. Who would have thought that all the way back 2.5 years ago when we started these just to put on some races for everybody during the COVID lockdown. 1 minute 30 to go and the tension mounts. I wonder how many on the starting line. And I've got a slight cough tonight, so there might be the odd throat clearing during the commentary. I do apologise for that in advance. And of course, the excitement doesn't help, does it? Because it strains the throat a little bit. Hopefully we can go to the start line very, very shortly and see what we've got. So 124 riders online, 1 minute to go to the start. I see, just looking at the names on the left, we have Matt Feely, one of my favourites. Julian Fussell on there for South District Wheelers, I see. Sam Ways from Watford, I've forgotten his first name now, I should know actually. Watford Velo put out some strong clubs. OTR in there with Blackmore, we see. Bouters, Nick Lee from Westerly. Oh, yes. The man, Dix, the Welsh couple there, Dixon Little. And good job I read it that way round, isn't it? Dixon Little, not the other way round, I should say. Sibley from Watford Velo again in there. Brearley, James Melville in there. Jan Janssens. Matt Hammond, strong rider from 3R. Wouter Clay's in there, of course, from Moon Riders, one of the stars of this. Gordon Jackson, Ben Phillips, the man who named Ratio Racing, and Kellison from the USA as well. All pretty exciting stuff, isn't it? Race starting in 10 seconds. The countdown starts now. Now, as I say, this has got 2 lumps in each lap, and you can probably see on the profile at the bottom as they go away. One of these mass starts as well. 126 starters, absolutely piling out there. Just look at the effort going into those early riders, and it just breaks it all up at the outset and see what happened. Wouter Clay's there, 47. It sounds like a low number for Wouter, but I'm assuming that he's still in touch with the front. So that's suggesting that we might have in the region of about 50 riders get into that first peloton. Samways for Watford leading it, Cook, 3R, the Australian in there, and a couple of purple jerseys from the Westerly guys putting in a spin at the front here, and Andre Grzyski, who else are we? Grzyski, I should say. And that is the front group. There is a split there, isn't there? About 50-51. I see Tim Cummings in there for Westerly as well. Those riders just on the back of that, just clinging on. If you can get on now, great. but we are, of course, and if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see the profile, and there's a big white blob there. As Francis, one of the Lou Francis from Watford, going out strong. Actually, Watford have got a kit that kind of suits the local colours there. But they're just on this first hill. You can see 4.4 gradient, and somebody's going out strong. It's Jan Vanna for No Pins 3R. Now, No Pins 3R in these multicoloured kits, but sort of kind of blue, pink, and light blue. You'll see a few of those. You can see a couple just behind, can't you? Look, there's a strong presence from the 3R riders. And Alex Plaisir there in second place in the Ratio kit. You can see there barred now for No Pins 3R. There's two 3R teams in this. There's No Pins 3R and the regular 3R teams. Andrei Krajewski there for Ratio Racing, I see. Good to see him up there. Marisek up there too. And who else we've got? Ben Phillips. We've got Richard Ackers there, our React number 5. Great racing, Richard. He runs the React training courses. Jan Vanna in there. Matt Hammond for Ratio 3R. Mark Rowbottom again. And Samways again for Watford. Marisak now pulling out the front. Slovenian, I think, from the flag, although there's another flag that is quite like that. Could be Czech Republic, I think. But we shall we shall correct that later if we have to. Andrew Viski up there. Look at that strong presence. Second, third, fourth and fifth. All No Pins 3R riders. This is a strong presence. I think they're going to go for the team prize this season. This is absolutely phenomenal from them. A.E. Gower, Twickenham in 7th. Delighted to see one of the Twickenham riders up there. Great club from the West London area. And Ben Phillips, Matt Hammond, as we've said before. Now, looking further back, Caroline Reuter, as we see there in 57th place, is currently leading the ladies section. Surprised to see Tim Cummings in that group as well, actually. He's usually quite strong and gets in that front group. But nevertheless, as we go through halfway through the first lap, and we've been over the first hill, 50-something. I see Gautam Thacker in there as well, my friend from West London Racing. But as I say, concentrating on the ladies, as I say, Caroline Reuter is leading the ladies. Christian Linar is in there at 59th. He's from San Antonio in Texas. And there's two West London riders in that group, I'm delighted to say. No bias, of course. Stuart Gillies from Twickenham in that group too. So this is forming into a nice little peloton. They need to work together. As you can see, there's a gap back from 58th to 59th. And that is the telling gap. So this will be... and I suspect this will grow. Towards the back, Lisa Snell. I know she's sitting at home in Greenford, and I think she's singing London Calling, she was telling me earlier. I'm not sure if she still is. She's probably working hard. 112. We've still got 122 riders online, so that's pretty decent for Lisa, who did quite well in the ladies' league last time round, we're delighted to say. Just looking out... Judy Frankel in there for the ladies. Linda Van Dijk as well, 108th in there. And you're seeing some of the ladies now competing for the ladies section in there. Judy Frankel in there in that OTR kit of white jersey with black shorts and that green stripe. John By the Way in there. Fantastic to see him. Actually from RGT. Absolutely fantastic to see one of the RGT guys participating. Thank you very much, John, and I know you're a very decent guy, as I've told you before, but not publicly, perhaps. As we go to Linda Van Dijk now in 108th. Some of these people will be best getting into little groups if they can, as Rick van der Laan from the Netherlands in 107th there, T. Bus from the USA 106th. Nice to go back, and Robinson from the USA as well. Brian Kellison just ahead of him. That's a splendid USA kit, isn't it? If ever I've seen one. And yeah, I do like that kit. Very stars and stripes, isn't it? Robinson joins. And this is the thing: if you can get into little groups here, you do well. Now, this little group of 4 off the front has got 2, as we revert to the front of the race, 2 No Pins 3R riders in there with John Sammett for Poker Motion and Chris Morgan, who I think is, I'm just trying to think with Chris Morgan, I think he's Australian. I think he's probably RGT Australia, I'm guessing. Ned Bowen in there as well. Now, Ned Bowen is the current champion and has been champion of this series twice, so he is royalty when it comes to this sort of thing, as we see the lead changing as they get swallowed up by this group. The thing is, this group, will the attrition prevail? They're on lap 2, so they've been over this hill twice, as Wilkinson, again, another 3 no pins 3R rider. Wouter Clay's in there challenging. Expect people like Chris Morgan. I see Simon Hall from Watford. He's fit, absolutely fantastic, Simon. Delighted to see you up there. It's the man I liaise with the Watford team lineups, and Rob Miller in there as well. Louis Francis from Watford as well. So Watford putting up a good show. I think they were a little bit disappointed with the last race because they are a strong club, and I'm just delighted to see a few of them back up there. Nick Greenhouse, as you'd expect, in that group for Rasio Racing, and a couple of purple jerseys there, so I'm just trying to see who they are. Andy Beale, my friend, is one of them. Delighted to see Andy doing well. He had a disappointing last race, so that's good news for Andy to be up in there. Simon Hall, as I said, for Watford, and Will Brown is the other Westerly rider actually in there, I see, from Ealing. And Western in there too. Richard Acker's still in there. His name comes up as REAC because he runs the REAC training courses. So looking a little bit back, and Western from Southborough District Wheelers, wonderful club from Tunbridge Wells down in southeast England, went down there to their annual cycling festival. My old mate Matt Feely, great to see you back, Matt. Just going past the Southborough rider just putting that effort in to get on the wheel and save the draft there. There's a rider just in front of them as well. It's Jan van Beurs. So oh, actually they're getting swallowed up, so this could be a bigger group now. I see Thakar and Nicolo Martinoli in there, the Italian rider, actually wearing his Westerly kit, but he also rides for Team Italy, so not sure. I think the team points are probably going to Team Italy today. Gautam Thakar definitely riding for West London though. So I'm not sure if Nicolo's actually recording this or not. So looking at this little front group now, there is still this front group, and the gap, you can see there's clear space between them, apart from one rider who maybe is going to bridge it across, and has. So the one rider just behind, I'll say has, is getting very, very close. Another David Buckley for Westerly back there, little Sutherland in there, Morris. Holly Larson, 71 there in the OTR kit. She's a strong lady from the USA. We're expecting Holly to be one of the challengers for the Ladies Series this time round, so look out for her. And she didn't quite stay with this group, so she's all been overtaken a little bit, but she's with Palmer, Christian Linares and Alex in there too. So if Holly Larson can just sort of kind of keep with Christian, I think, here, and use the draft, that'll be good for her. Christian, as I say, from San Antonio. It looks like Christian's just putting a bit of an effort in to try and catch up with that group ahead. Still got 121 riders on the course at 5.64 kilometres into the race. Remaining 10. As I said, the graphic at the front was slightly wrong. It is about 16k, which is our target. That equates to about 10 miles if you're from somewhere like the USA or the UK. Delighted to see this little group staying together, and hopefully won't break up too much. They're coming round to the second hill. Now, if you look at the bottom of the screen, those two hills, there's two steep bits on the first one, and it's sort of fairly shallow in the middle. Tom Wilkinson going away for no pins 3R there. This is a strong push. What this does is Sibley chases him down for Watford Velo Sport. Absolutely cracking riding from Sibley there. Oh, somebody's stalled there, and it's a West London rider, so my sympathies for whoever that is, because it's certainly somebody I know. Chris Morgan in there as well. Wilkinson's still slightly out front, but he's going to get swallowed up by the peloton. What this does, Alistair McAlpine in there I see as well. I'm delighted to see him in there. One of the stalwarts of this series. Hogan from No Pins 3R, the Norwegian as well. Kester Dobson for Southborough I see it. Doug Hart in there for Pedalers. And who else have we got? Alex Plaisir, I've mentioned before, the Belgian. So we've got we've whittled this down to about 35 and maybe 37, 38 riders now. And it was 50 on the last lap, as we have just gone over that second hill again. The first hill, the one on the left, which has got steep beginning and steep end, that's Hillingdon Hill. The one at the end, which does the same, the steepest bits at start and finish, that's Honeycroft Hill. The race is called the Hillingdon Honey, and that's why. Hillingdon Hill and Honeycroft Hill. And neither of them particularly steep, and they're certainly not that long, but they do enable these little attacks. Rob Miller in there for 3R as well. Now, as I said, there's 3R and there's No Pins 3R, so they've got 2 teams in here. Bouter Clays in the front. So they end another lap as they go through the start line, and you'll see the big blob starts again on the left as they come into lap 3. So that's about halfway through the course, and you can see there's 35 with 2 laps to go. So they've thinned it down to 35 riders in the front bunch. I think that will thin some more in the next 2 laps, and I think you'll see this with the attacks on the 2 hills. We're coming up to the first hill, as we see the Japanese rider Kanai in there as well. Nice to see a Japanese in there. Not sure what the time difference is for riding at this time of day, but nevertheless, Doug Hart. Now, Doug Hart from Pedalers does like to shift off the front and stretch this, and this is what I think happens. Every time somebody does this, you can see another rider going off the front, followed by a No Pins 3R rider. Every time somebody pushes off the front, it creates a little bit of stress at the back, and you usually lose 1 or 2 riders. They're coming up to that first Hillingdon hill now. Everybody clinging on at the back, making sure that they can make the most of that draft. Coming round that slight curve, we're starting to lap riders, and there's 1 or 2 riders with dropouts as we lap another rider at the back. And this is one of the nice things about these crits. If you're at the back and you're actually riding this, you can see the big race go past you a few times, which is probably more than you do at big tours. Just look how that little exercise is stretching the field now, and you expect some people to drop off. Big names are in there though. Oren, Bouter Clays, Gower from Twickenham, and who else have we got in there? Rob Miller, and Ned Bowen, of course. Matt Hammond, as you'd expect. James Millville. James Millville, I don't think has won the series, but he's certainly finished on the podium for the series several times, and it's got a nice little collection growing of trophies from this. Just look at how much that is stretching on this. They're going up the hill. It's only 2.7. I said it's not steep, but the power they put in to do that, 3.6 radiant at the moment, and the power they put into that leaves people off the back, and it's No Pins calling the shots at the front with Bard and Brearley. They've got a usurper in Tim Cook as well though, and the rest just about getting back together again, but there will be some casualties. This might be a much smaller group after this. We'll have to see how they regroup after this hill. You can see the blob now in the middle of the course, about to peak Hillingdon Hill before the left turn into the road that links the 2 hills, and you'll see, I suppose effectively, if you look at the map on your right, the blue blob is where they're at the moment. So they're cutting across towards Honeycroft Hill. When they do that sharp left at the end of that, that is where Honeycroft Hill will start. Look at the damage. Riders falling off the back now. The group is thinning. Nick Greenhalgh is in there safely. Alistair McAlpine is as well. This is what the big riders want. They want the casualties. They want to whittle it down. Big sprint finishes sometimes give other riders a bit of a chance, and it takes away places from the big names. So the big names have adopted this strategy of thinning the field. So when you see a breakaway in this, they're not really looking for the breakaway, they're looking to thin the field down. There are 4 riders at the back fighting for their dear lives to get back onto this group. 3 of them have done it. 1 rider just still to come. Can he make up that gap? It's getting closer. I think it's going to happen, but well, I suppose actually there's a bit of luck because you get that downhill first. Yes, he's on. So there's a downhill, and that takes you to the bottom of Honeycroft Hill. Absolutely fantastic when you do it in real life, except you have to jam the brakes on when you get to the T-junction. Sibley from Watford Velo no longer in that front group, working with Andrew Krajewski. Briggs from Scotland in there. Maroney about to join. Will Brown and Simon Hall riding together. They don't live far apart, Watford and Ealing, so they probably got plenty to talk about, and they probably know this road in the Uxbridge Hillingdon area very well. Westenson at 38th on his own would probably welcome some company to work with somebody for this, and Dick's the same. Well, he's got 1 rider, which is no. So this is now the next big group, I would suspect, and we're having a look in there. Nicolo Martinoli in there, Mike Wareham, Andy Beale from Westerly I see in there, and Schmidt from RIAC is nice to see, and well done to the RIAC. RIAC really supporting ladies racing at the moment, so we're delighted to have them on board, and I think the RIAC ladies team are going to give West London a run for their money this season, so that's going to be tremendously exciting. we look forward to that. Other exciting things to look out for. OTR have got their Tour de Alps coming up soon. That starts in around the 7th of November, I believe. 12 races, all mountain climbs in a daily series. Brought to you by OTR, so look out for that one. November the 7th, the date for that one. Should be good, probably not for me, but I like these flatter courses, I think. Although I do like going up mountains in real life. I'm just do them at my pace rather than race pace, I think it's the truth of the matter. As we look at this front group, we're getting ever thinner. Gower from Twickenham in there. Jans Varner from No Pins 3R. I think No Pins 3R are well represented in this group as they complete another lap. And the big blob at the bottom comes out at the beginning of the course. This is the final lap for the front runners. This is where it's going to be decided. That group has whittled down. Just look at those dots across the course. How split is how spread out is the field. And that's what happens in these. Marisak, who did well last time for Raciel Racing. Rob Miller is in there. Wouter Clays, as you expect. Wally Gora, who's riding for Moonriders now. Doug Hart from Pedlars. Bard, No Pins R. Louis Francis for Watford in there. Chris Morgan. Paul Hinson, we haven't mentioned him yet. He's in there. James Melville, of course. Great to see Paul Hinson in there. Not sure if it's Hinson or Heinsohn. Sorry, Paul. I say Bard, I think I mentioned in there. So this is the group that's going to fight out this final lap. This is where it gets exciting. 3.52 kilometres to go. And what will happen next? It's the next climb is going to be very, very telling for these riders. They are on the limit. 42 kph. It's slightly downhill just before they get to the bottom of Hillingdon Hill. And they're making the most of it at 42 kph, minus 0.4 gradient, but this is 46, they go up to 46, but they're now on the climb. The gradient suddenly 2.2, and already you see the attacks, you see the thinning of this front group, and it's Ben Phillips for Racio Racing that's pulling everybody along. Doug Hart is chasing him. Doug Hart's strong at pulling away from the crowd, but the gap's not thinning at the moment. But Ben Phillips is on his own, and there's a long way to go on this lap. He's about to be swallowed up by the peloton as I speak, though. So the lead changes. Ben Phillips gets swallowed up by the peloton. Not too many people falling off the back, but maybe a couple. There's a second ramp on this hill. I mean, it's still going uphill. It's plus 1.5, but the second bit of the ramp just near the top, up by the church at Hillingdon Hill, to come. Tim Cook up there with Doug Hart pushing away, and we see that this group has three No Pins riders. 3-3. It does. Alex Plazier now for Racio Racing is taking up the front. He's pushing hard. Mick Greenhalgh's teammate is not far behind. Could this be a Racio 1-2 even tonight? Or will 3R No Pins check that? And the gap now, 25 metres for Alex Plazier. This is strong as he passes some back markers. He's got up to 30 metres gap now to Brearley from 3R No Pins, who are heading the chase to bring Alex Plazier in. It's closing down a little bit. It's down to 25, but Alex Plazier's still strong. 2.25 kilometres to go. That's a long way to go solo. We're seeing people going off the back. Gower from Twickenham has now just lost that front group as the pressure mounts on this last lap. And Louis Francis from Watford Velo still in there. Nick Greenhalgh in there, and Jan Vanner, No Pins 3R. Alex Plazier's now down to about 20. So we're halfway round the last lap. Alex Plazier looks like he's going to get reeled in. The gap down to 13 metres now as they head together for the last climb, and then that rush to the finish. Alex Plazier's going to get caught. It's down to 8 metres. But again, this will have thinned the group down, so it takes away the lottery effect of a mass bunch sprint, which is kind of what we had in the last race. We like that. Oh, and Louis Francis from Watford is going out on his own. That's a massive attack on 13 metres gap. No Pins 3R are not having that, though, as they lead the charge. It's Bard leading the change. Alex Plazier just behind him, the man who just did that big solo, and Chris Morgan, the the Australian, is just behind him. Will Louis Francis do this for Watford Velo? It'd be a massive win. I don't think Watford have won one yet. It would be an amazing feat for the local club if they did this. I know they kind of want to do well in this, and I think they were a bit disappointed last time. Looks to me like the gap is closing a little bit on Louis, but it's still there. And it will be all about this next climb, and they're just at the bottom of Honeycroft Hill now. Louis Francis has got 30 metres. Louis Francis probably even knows this climb because he can't live that far away. You see the little sign showing the gradient as he passes some back markers at 41 kph, despite the 3.7 gradient. but the peloton is not far behind. 800 metres, can he do it? He's still got to climb this hill. He's done the first little bit of ramp. 800 metres to go, but the gap is slipping. It's 13 metres. It's down to 7. Alex Plager hasn't quite done that. So it comes together again. So with 600 metres to go, we've got this little group together. There's some people a little bit further back as they do the second half of the climb. This is going to be the decisive bit, and you can see some of the Ratio racers, Ratio racing riders going through there. Gower in this for Twickenham, which is great. Nick Greenhouse, Ned Bowen sitting there in all red in draft. I haven't seen Tom Gates in here today, so he's only a draft rider. It's Doug Hart who likes to break away in front with 300 metres gone. It's a decent gap, 16 metres. It's past the climb. He could possibly do this, but the gap is closing again. As Walligora for Moon Riders closes the gap. Hogan for No Pins 3R, and Matt Hammond, another Ratio racing rider, in the chase. But it is getting thin. Podium places are probably being decided at this moment, and Doug Hart does it. Absolutely phenomenal racing. What a breakaway from Doug Hart. He's a strong rider. He beats Hogan from Norway. Matt Hammond, the Ratio racing rider, just after that. Oh, what a ride from Doug Hart. Delighted for the man. He's a proper gent too, and you couldn't have hoped for a bit of Alex Plager all the way back there. I'm not sure what happened. Richard Ackers, Mark Rowbottom, all coming in there. Paul Hinson, Kester Dobson for Southport, Samways from Watford, Briggs, the Scott, Sibley, another Watford rider. Watford putting up a good showing tonight. Pleased for them. King Tubby coming in. I love King Tubby. I actually spoke to him during the week, and he's got a great sense of humour as well. Top guy. Cavalius now for Ratio Rising. He's going to get picked by another Watford rider. No, so the top 10 look like this: Sim Cook, Chris Morgan, 10th, 9th, Marianne Marisak, who did well last time, John Samet, Nick Greenhouse. This is a all-star list. Wouter Calais, Camille Walligora, Eric Holson, Matt Hammond, Eric Holson, and of course Pedlars with Doug Hart, the winner. Well, that is an all-star top 10, and as we see it, 33rd, Andrei Krajewski just beating Briggs there. Sibley from Watford coming in 35th. And we've got a little bit of a tussle here. Nick Lee, who I know is a decent fast rider, who lives near me in Hamwell, pushing away for 36. He's got Jan Janssens just behind him with 192 metres to go. This looks like a competitive group though, and Nick getting overtaken by a Groove. And one of the Southport District Wheelers, it's Kester Dobson, and Simon's the... oh no, Nick's still in there. Oh, he doesn't make it, just at the back of the group. Sadly for me. Nicolo Martinola at 41st as well, looking at the top next to the top 20. Jan Vanna, Saad Carradine, Alistair McAlpine, Ned Bowen at 14th, which is a little bit of a surprise. Stephen Brearley, James Melville at 16th, just missing out on that last climb and the sprint. Andrew Gower from Twickenham, Rob Miller from the USA riding for 3R, Clive Byam for OTR. Great to see OTR with some riders in there. Thank you very much for the support, guys, as we watch Goten Thacker coming in, Terry Wilkinson in 20th. Goten Thacker coming in 57th. I think he'll be quite pleased with that. Remember, there's 100 riders here. Looking at the next 30, Johan Aaron, Liam Bard, Yuichi Kanai, the Japanese rider, Ben Phillips, Ratio Racing, the Welshman. Louis Francis ending up 25th, just picking Alex Plager, and Chris Ackers from REAC, Mark Rowbottom, Paul Hinson at 30th there. That's full stop at 29th. Some people don't like their name on here. 58th is Suhar, just winning this sprint from Sutherland, and after that, LeMay coming in. David Buckley all the way back there. David Buckley, a previous winner of this series, the very first one. Stuart the Scot coming in. Kester Dobson 31st now. Jack Samways from Watford. Andrei Krajewski, Robert Briggs, Peter Sibley from Watford. Lorenzo Simons. We saw Caroline Reuter coming in there as the First Lady. I didn't quite catch the number. I think she was about 61st or 62nd. Well done, Caroline Reuter. I think you were the First Lady home again. So that's going to make you commanding in the ladies' competition. Andy Beale here from Ealing, 69th coming in. I don't know what Andy will feel about that, because he was up with the front group doing quite well earlier on. I suspect something's gone wrong along the way. But anyway, so Peter Sibley, Lorenzo Simons was 36th, Jürgen Janssen 37th, Borough Grelf 38th, Julian Fussell from Southport District Wheelers just pipping Nick Lee into a 40th place in that little group we watched a moment ago. Stevens coming in 17th position here, and South African. As we go back to 71st, one of the RIAC riders, Palmer, from the ladies competition, I'm assuming, maybe not actually, looking at the avatar. So not 100% sure. It probably is actually. So one of the RIAC riders coming in 71st, as you can see the start line coming up. Look at that, 43.44 kph with 200 metres to go. 48, that's fantastic, isn't it? It's a slight downhill gradient, but that's pretty impressive riding as Palmer goes sailing past one of the West London riders and finishes very creditable 71st. 49 riders still out there. So Tara Total Koala Total Koala, I think. Oh, Holly Larson coming in there, 75th. Is probably second for the ladies today, which is great. H. Dave, great name, of course. Not Real Rides, another one of those nice, humorous names that we like to see in these things. Making it fun. These races are for everybody, and I would always stress that it is a social event. And RGT, of course, have put a voice on this. I tried it last night. It was great on one race and didn't really work on the TTT we did afterwards. So I'm not quite sure what went wrong the second time. As I say, it was great the first time, not so good the second time. I did read, I think Cycling Weekly saying they were, somebody like DC Rainmaker saying they're the first platform to do this. They're not actually. It was already on Cade. And I've tried Cade a couple of times and it's worked perfectly with them. I'm sure RGT will get this sorted out. As I say, it was brilliant the first time and just didn't quite work on the TTT. Watching these riders, Cheeseman coming in, Gilmore there, 83rd, coming around with 100 metres to go, and we've still got 37 riders to come in as Gilmore comes in at 83rd place. See some of the names coming in. Laura Whittingham looking like she's going to finish 86th in the ladies. Just looking out some of the other ladies. Brett Smith at 85th, and the South Africa got a British flag. He's South African and lives in Slough. Gordon Jackson at 87th from OTR. Gordon usually a little bit higher up than that, but it is a big field today. Blackmore for OTR is next home at 88th. Lau, South African, 89th, coming in now, 50 metres to go. And we've got Shof coming up next. Just Wendy Wonderwheels at 93rd for the ladies, and she's still yet to come in, but she's only a few hundred metres back. Zandio, Spaniard, 91st, and finishing on 28 minutes and 55. It's not a time trial, but it can be a little bit like that on the back. Wendy Wonderwheels, Gallahan, 93rd. Just going to do this under 30 minutes, comfortably under 30 minutes, it should be said. 29.08. Well done, Wendy. Forster next up. I think that's a Twickenham rider looking at the kit. So great for Forster there. Not sure of the first name. At 94th, 100 metres to go, just round that little bend, and you can see the finishing line coming up. And actually, Forster's going to do under 30 as well. Cavalius, the German, riding for Ratio Racing, 95th, and this is, everybody gets points in this, by the way. There's 100 points for the winner, and then 99 for the second, and so forth. If you finish 100th, you'll get 1 point. If you finish beyond 100, you will get a point. Everybody beyond 100 gets a point. Squires comes in 96th place. Danielle Gaunt in 97th is there, and I know she was messing around, having fun with the new sound feature on RGT earlier before the ride, and hopefully she got some inspiration from it, or well, maybe not, I don't know. I'm not there to tell, am I? She lives up in Derbyshire. Walker is going to get pipped here by X-Freak on the line for 98th place. Walker just getting 99th, so still above the 1 point mark, and the next rider in will be the first 1 pointer, and it is Fraser from Twickenham who gets the next set of points, but it's only 1 point, and everybody thereafter will get 1 point with 20 riders still to finish. And we shall see how that works out. Maria Witsky at 103rd in there is as we watch Rick van der Laan at 100 and what's Van der Laan, where is it? 101st, of course. He'll be a 1 point rider. Lisa West from Twickenham at 104th. Some of the ladies coming in. Coco Maisie at 105th. Colin Stewart, great chap, I have to say. I like him. Gail Robinson at 107th. Gail not having such a strong season as last time out. I know she was off the bike a lot in the summer, and that's probably means she's going to get stronger over the winter. But remember, in the ladies series, look, Lisa West and Maria Witsky battling this one out. This is for ladies points because, and it's going to be Maria Witsky from Puerto Rico. Absolutely fantastic. I say that you get 1 point under 100. In the ladies league, you don't. It's worked out in a manner that the ladies below 100 will get a different set of points. There's a formula for this, and it's as I say, it's designed specifically. It's slightly complicated the way it works, but we start with the first lady and work back from 100 there. So they will all get points in excess of 1 in the ladies league. They'll get 1 for the general classification. Gail Robinson comes in riding for Twickenham, but she's moved out to Wales these days. I should imagine the riding up and down the hills in Wales makes you a very strong rider, and I'm sure that Gail is going to get much better as the series goes on. It's your best 6 results in the ladies league, so you take the points, and if you get better points in another race, then they can supersede it if you do over 6 races. So it's good to turn out in the smaller races, actually. Linda Van Dyke there, the Australian, 108th. Another one in there with the ladies' competition in mind. She's going to beat Judy Frankel at 109th by only 12 metres. So that's quite a nice little win for Linda there. I think she'll be pleased with that. Judy not quite making it. Oh, she's, I bet she's begrudging those few metres, but well done both of you. Moroni coming in next, and behind her will be Lisa Snell. There's a 200 metre gap though, so Moroni quite safe in this position at 110th, rolling in with 1.10 kilometres to go. Sorry, there is quite a big gap now, isn't there? Judy Frankel was 1 kilometre ahead of Moroni, Snell, Kelliston, B. Will Brown. He was up in the front earlier. I don't know what's happened to him then. Anyway, Moroni now. She's in the last. He's in the last kilometre. I wonder what happened to Will Brown. Hibbler in the West London kit in 115th. As I say, I'm quite intrigued to find out what happened to Will Brown. I'll have to ask him because he was doing quite well earlier on. Nice lad and a decent rider too. So strange that one. Maybe he had a drop out of some description. We've got 8 riders still to come, and I think what have we got? 9 riders online, but it's actually showing more than that on the. I'm not quite confused about that because there's more than 9 riders listed, and yet above there it says 9 riders online. I have to look into that. Brian Kelliston at 112th is certainly on the way. We're only just coming in there, 600 metres to go. You can see Lisa Snell just behind her. I wonder if Lisa can make up that gap over 500 metres. I think she's possibly. Yeah, I think she is, isn't she? I think Lisa might actually just have Moroni in her sights. She's certainly closing that gap. I can imagine the whole Snell family. Her son is a phenomenal rider, by the way. Frankie, he's a cycling photographer as well, and works for one of the big cycling companies. It's a cycling family, I can tell you, and they will be rooting for a fantastic pass by there for Lisa. 110th. I think she's got her head down. She's got the bit between the teeth. She wants this position. 110th. Lisa will be absolutely delighted with that, and as she finishes at 110th. Well, I'll say she finishes. It could all go wrong. Oh, Moroni's fighting back. It's not over. It's not over. Perhaps. Oh, Moroni just. Oh dear. Poor old Lisa. Just getting pipped at the end after that fantastic sprint. Well, it can be exciting all the way around this race, can't it? Lisa just having gone that little bit too soon. What a shame. What an absolute shame. But great for Moroni, and what character to pull back and pull that through. Kellison in Brian Kellison in that wonderful USA kit is the next one up, 112. We've got B, Hibberley, Bobbins and Brown. Will Brown, of course, is showing no watts output at the moment, and consequently is, as Brian Kellison comes home. So Will Brown looks like he's stuck with 2 kilometres to go. I get a feeling if he gets that going, he'll probably finish. So let's have a look at the top 40. We're going to go all the way down this. Doug Hart with that phenomenal win. He's a strong rider. Hogan just being picked there. I say just being picked there. It's 3/10 of a second. Matt Hammond next. Kamel Walligora for Moon Riders. Wouter Clays for Moon Riders. Moon Riders picking up some good points there. Matt Hammond for No Pins as well. So your top 2 riders count in the team competition. So I think Moon Riders might have done quite well out there, as Ratio Racing take 3rd. So I think No Pin's probably losing a few points to Moon Riders in that. Nick Greenhalgh for Ratio Racing, they picked up some great points. Look at that, Matt Hammond at 3rd and Nick Greenhalgh in 6th place. John Samet from Poker Motion, Marianne Marisak in 8th, Chris Morgan the Australian, Tim Cook riding for 3R in 10th, Jan Vanna in 11th, Saad Carradine 12th, Alistair McAlpine the Scot from Glasgow United, just pipping adversary Ned Bowen, 2 of the serial riders in this, finishing 13th and 14th there. His teammate James Melville, that's Glasgow United, and Alistair McAlpine in 16th. Between them, Stephen Brearley in 15th. Andrew Gower, great result for Twickenham at 17th. Rob Miller, 3R at 18th. Clive Byam from OTR, 19th. Terry Wilkinson at 20th. Johan Aaron at 21st. Liam Bard at 22nd. Yushi Kanei at 23rd. Ben Phillips at 24th. Louis Francis, after that great breakaway near the end, ended up at 25th. And Alex Plaisir just behind him for Ratio Racing at 26th. Richard Ackers, React, RI for Richard, AK for Ackers. 27th, Mark Rowbottom, full stop at 29th, beating Paul Hinson. And South District Wheelers, Kester Dobson, pulling in 31st ahead of Jack Samways, another Watford rider. Watford was 12th and 32nd, looking quite good there. And Andrei Krajewski at 33rd, another Ratio rider. And it's Robert Biggs at 34th. Peter Sibley at 35th, Lorenzo Simons at 36th, Jürgen Janssen 37th, Burke Grove 38th, Julian Fussell, another Southwood District Wheelers rider at 39th, and my friend Nick Lee at 40th. Well done, Nick, to get in that top 40. That has been another phenomenal race. If you go to www.westlondoncycling.com, you will see all the results and races. The standings. The standings should be up there already. The actual race results will be published shortly later this evening with a race report and more. Make sure you check it out. We're back in 2 weeks' time. It's every other Wednesday, 7:30 on RGT. Look forward to seeing you next time. All the best. Bye bye.